Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome everybody to the Lace Up Podcast, episode 11. I got my co-host here.
What's up, guys? Devin Donovan here.
We got a special guest, always a special guest. You know, we come with the only the big hitters, you know, and we got my boy Mikey here. He's gonna share his story, and I think you guys will be intrigued, you know. So it'll definitely resonate with some people. And what do you got, Dev?
Yeah, Mikey, thanks for coming on,
Yo,
bro.
thank you for having me, man.
Yeah,
Thank you,
of course. So, yeah, tell the people real quick where you could, your social media and shit.
Social media, man, is Mikey person in recovery, and I do the hardcore hip hop, man. You can follow me on Instagram at MORUKUZ, MORUKUZ.
MORUKUZ.
You know what I mean? So
MORUKUZ. That's fire, bro. That's fire. Yeah, no, that's dope. I was definitely very intrigued when I first met you. Meeting you in the recovery mix, like at a meeting and stuff, and then telling me about the hip hop thing. I think it's awesome, dude. I think it's great when it's like, we're addicts, we're alcoholics, but we're more than that, right? You could fucking pursue being a rapper. You could pursue doing a podcast.
Yeah.
You could do whatever you want, bro. You know what I mean? I think that's awesome that you're doing that.
I think it's really important, at least for me, to like have a method of expression.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That outlet,
like,
right?
No matter how much we heal and we do these things, like I'm gonna have that pain there. So the art is beautiful for me because that's what I create from. So
yes. And I like, the one thing like Devin was talking about, I think that we have, maybe that's one of our superpowers, there's alcoholics, addicts, and, where you can kind of read people, read the room, certainly, it's probably more of a defense mechanism than anything, but, it can also suit you with people-wise, I heard a kid say last night, and I loved it, because I got to learn, even sometimes, I may feel a certain way, but like to express it, I'll put it into words and articulate that. And he said, he doesn't care what comes out of people's mouth. He watches how they move, And Brian said that last night, and that was that's real talk right there. And I watching you, it's like, I can pick out a phony, a fake, a fraud. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I'll bet on myself with is definitely feeling that. I listen to my intuition, and the one thing with you, how you move is very humble and it's attractive, But at the same time, that's why I wanted to have you on, so you could let people know whatnot, because I know you're reserved and stuff like that. But at the same time, when you're also doing things out here now, and people should hear about it. They need to hear about it, and you deserve it. You deserve all the you deserve that shit, man.
Yeah, I like that about you. You're very humble. You're very you're very content. You seem happy, content, bro, and you just
we can't fake that shit.
You got a way about you that moves, like, you know what I mean? A lot of people would be like, oh, I rap, and you know what I mean? There's a personality that comes with it, and that's fine, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you got to be able to differentiate the two when you're at a meeting, when you're in the studio type shit. You know?
Man, like the rap shit with me is like it's hardcore shit, so it's very braggadocious, but in real life, you got to carry yourself a different way. I remember when I was young, and I was chilling with my boy, and we were smoking some weed, and I was high. I'm thinking to myself, I said some arrogant shit. I was like, oh, I'm humble. He said, no, man. Sometimes the universe humbles you.
Yes.
And through my experiences, I feel like I've been humbled. My whole life I had all these false beliefs, and I was cutting corners, and inevitably it led me back to the same place. So thankfully today, I really just try to remain humble,
Yeah, and always, I think that we've talked about it before, and me and you have had plenty of conversations, and right away, you pick up, if someone has felt what you felt, and how couldn't you, that's a nice feeling, it's not, it's like, and there's only one place I found that, and you guys know where that is, but
yeah,
like you said, the word humble, whatnot, it's like, those words, words are good, words, it sounds good, and we don't know what we don't know, but growing up and stuff, I would have liked to believe that, right? If that was all it took was for me to say it out loud, bro, I'm humble, I'm loyal, I'm this, I'm that. I wasn't any of these things to myself, so how could I be to anyone else? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that right there was a game changer for me. And when you talk about an action word, for you to even, you said you basically got back to square one, it always led back to the same place. And when you go out there, finally, it's like, all right, so we can keep doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like revolving door. What do you want to do? You know? But at the same time, it's like, that's why I feel like, what's the point of as a human being, you go into regret, you know? I'd like to sit here and tell you, like, you know, I have no regrets. Like, sounds good. You know what I'm saying? That's a lie, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, why be, you know, they say put the bat away, like to sit there and feel guilt, shame, and like all this stuff. Sometimes we don't even know even what we're feeling. I don't believe either, you know? It's just so embedded in us and like so, you know, that term they say, like even fear of success. It's like, bro, I know. Yeah. I know I can pinpoint fear of failure, all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's easy to me. But like, what does I can't really conceptualize that, the fear of success, but I know it's a thing, you know what I mean? Yeah, and you know, it's something that I think, you know, you know, I can certainly relate to, you know.
100%. So before we get into that, like, you know, one of the first things I noticed about you, you know, cutting corners. You got the little New York accent. So I love that. I love that because
let's give the people a background.
Yeah, give them a background, man. Give them. So I know, you know, you've spent a lot of time here, but I know you spent a lot of time in New York too. So yeah, where'd you grow up? Where you from? And just what was life, you know, growing up?
Thing with me is, man, I'm really like, in all honesty, I'm a nomad. You know, I'm born on the Cape. Moved to Boston, was there till like 12 or 13, Rosendale, and then
Rosie.
Then I moved to Connecticut, and you know, I just really, in all reality, it's like, where you from? I usually just say Boston. In reality, I'm a nomad, man. I've been all over the place. I lived many years in New York. When I was young, I was a knucklehead. By 15, my father kicked me out, and quickly after that, I ended up in the Bronx.
Oh shit!
And
the boogie down, baby.
Yeah, and it was like crazy because that time of my life, like I started listening to underground rap, like MF Doom and Wu-Tang, and just all this. It started taking mad psychedelics, and then I ended up in the Bronx, and I had a chip on my shoulder because rough childhood. Grew up in Boston. My dad is a tough guy. My grandfather's kind of a wise guy, so I had that persona. And the Bronx was a paradigm shift, man. That is a crazy place, you know. And I was living couch to couch, running around, smoking angel dust, chilling with my boy Grimm's uncle, Green Eyes, going door to door, selling DVDs. Just, it was crazy. I was freestyling with people. And all of that combined really, like, gave me a crazy paradigm shift because it was such a culture shock. And it was just, but it kind of made me who I am. And I got love, like, in the cypher, in the Bronx. No one gives a fuck about your feelings in the Bronx. If you're whack, they'll roast you on the spot, you know, but I got love. So for me, that's always like a core memory. Like, no matter what I do with the music, I know I'm meant to do it. Like, I really am hip-hop. You can't go to the Bronx and get love if you're whack.
That's what's up, bro.
You know?
And I don't think, I say all the time, and I'm glad that, you know, you just put it in those terms, because I say, like, we're not putting ourselves out there. We're not the type of people that are going to, like, even at risk for this much, you know, to embarrass ourselves or like put ourselves out there and, like, you know, look like a clown, right?
Yeah.
But like when we know, you know, like when we feel something inside, like what you just said right there, like it's not about trying to sell it to someone else. It's like, you believe it, you know it inside, right? So it's like, you don't have to sell that to no one, right? Like, you know, it's in you. You just said, I am hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's up.
You just reminded me of, like, you know, I went to Miami one summer for vacation. Like, I was with a couple of my boys, whatever. And, you know, we were in the hood, bro. And we were like, let's go play ball. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, whatever, like, whether I'm maybe not in Lowell, but, like, if I'm in, like, the hood in Dorchester, if I'm, like, fucking in Miami, whatever, like, I usually get picked last, you know what I mean? To play ball, we're playing pickup.
Because you're white?
Probably. No, legit, dude. That's, you know what I mean? Just like, I'm sure, like, with rap, right? Like, they're gonna be like, they're gonna be sleeping on you a little bit. You know what I mean? It's just a fact, bro. Like, it's all right. It's all good. But I love that shit. You know what I mean? Yes.
I'd pick you. Yeah, I'd pick you first, bro. You're my first pick. You're my first overall pick every day, bro.
I feel like when I started
real quick. What coach, Joe? For the people watching, right? They can't smell. They can hear you, but they can't smell you. What are you wearing, dude? It smells phenomenal.
Yo, it's called confidence, nigga. Yo, cut that shit.
Yo, you definitely gotta cut that out.
You gotta cut that. It's called confidence, baby.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I don't know. All that BX talk.
That's
I was thinking of Terror Squad, No. I was with some of those dudes, Mikey. No, I was with Joe. I was with the fucking the Terror Squad, bro.
Yeah, you bought dust off Fat Joe.
No,
dude.
Bro, stop it, man.
I'm just saying.
No, I can't believe that's
our first, like, legit edit. But anyways, let's keep going. So
Yeah, we just got canceled.
Yeah, I feel like when I started with the music, there was still like a large sentiment where you would get heavily doubted if you were white. I feel today is very different because this is like all type of shit going on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's more like
Yeah.
I mean,
everything's more open. But
I mean,
then it was
Millie's,
like,
look at Millie's, bro. You know what I'm saying?
like the one thing I always hated is like, what do you think you're Eminem? Like, heard that a lot of times. You know, people think M is the only white MC.
Well,
I don't even listen to like the shit I listen to. Most people don't even know of.
Yeah.
Like I'm an elite. I'm into like the super underground.
Yeah.
You know, and that's,
No,
that's
you're
what I love.
definitely underground. You know, and I think you know, I think of Jadakiss, Nas, and stuff like that, and you know, they didn't go mainstream for a long time. You know what I mean? They were, and but then there's another level. I feel like, you know, almost like Fight Club, and you know what I mean? Like,
you know who I really liked
go,
that was underground? Well, somewhat at least, you know, was Flatbush Zombies. I love them coming out. Flatbush was dope. They had a lot of dope shit. Him, Joey Badass.
Yeah.
Before they like, you know what I mean? Kind of, well, Joey's like doing more like, you know, the power shit with 50 now or whatever it is, Raising Canaan. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's
They were
dope.
some of the dopest in that era when they came out. Flatbush Zombies and who was the Underachievers was super dope. That was
you know. So you just I was thinking, I'm intrigued by this stuff where it's like you know, who hasn't watched 8 Mile and saw like that cypher that, you know what I mean, when they were there, and could you have any like stories like about like that you'd think of like any times where like something just like it was the stars aligned, and like maybe not even yourself, I'm just saying like that you remember that was just like kind of sticks out in your head and was like, wow, that was a moment there, or even certain people that maybe didn't have a name yet, and then like they came and they put on a, you know, they put on a show, you know what I'm saying?
For me, that moment would be first of all, peace to my homie Dame Son and Brown Bag Money. Dame Son is an artist from Toronto, and he got some motion in the underground. And when I went to prison, before that, Dame Son was one of my favorite rappers. You know what I mean? You know, when you go up top, you know music. So before I went to walk into the court to get sentenced, I listened to one of my favorite Dame Son songs, knowing I wasn't gonna be able to listen to music for a while, or if it was, it would just be the radio. You know, and for me, that moment was when I came home from prison. Dame Son ended up becoming a homie of mine. We did a couple songs together, and he was on tour, Rome Streets of Griselda. He brought me out to Brighton Music Hall, sold out show, did a couple songs, and, you know, was rocking with him. So that was kind of that moment for me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Griselda's with like Benny the Butcher and shit, and
Benny the Butcher is Griselda, West Side Gun, and that whole
Conway.
wave.
I like Conway. He's
Conway's
straight,
serious.
Conway's serious. We gotta get Joe. Joe's like, you know, Joe's still on the fucking Millie's 50 Cent, all that mainstream. It's all right. Yeah. It's all right. We'll get him into it.
Yeah. You would probably like it, man.
He would.
I'm sure I would. I like the you know, like the creativity. You know, that's one thing. You know, when I was away, I liked that my outlet was writing. I that's my goal. You know, my aspirations and ambition is to, you know, is to ghostwrite. You know, behind the scenes, just like. It just comes easy. That comes naturally for me, and that's not the case in everyday life with everyday things. But like writing, it just comes naturally, and you know, it's something that I'd love to pursue. I just got to stay on the grind where it's like, you know, I know even when I've met you, I've talked about it and stuff, but then like making that next step, you know, and making the time to sit down with someone and be like, yeah, this is what it is, you know, because I have all the lyrics and stuff, but
start recording, man.
Yeah, you know, and I've talked to you about it, you know.
Get into
it's something, I just got to take that leap of faith. You know?
I completely understand. Like, I started rapping in the Bronx when I was maybe 16, but I, for years, only freestyled. It was like in the mental ether. Like, it didn't really manifest for a long time, you know? Like, first time I really took a crack at making music, I was 25 when I first got sober, you know? Before that, it was kind of just like in this mental realm, you know, and I would freestyle, but I didn't take it serious. And then inevitably it manifested in the physical form, you know?
Right.
But it was 10 years of freestyling and running. I was more focused on the street shit.
Yeah.
You know? And rapping was just kind of for fun. Like, I would be high on Adderall and I'd freestyle for 10 hours.
Yeah, right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like, you know.
You're wrong, dude.
Shut the fuck up. This is one of those moments
completely
where
wrong,
I tell
brother.
Joe to shut the fuck up. I feel like people, right, that have been through pain and suffering, living the street life, going to prison, dabbling with selling drugs, doing drugs, whatever the case may be, people that are really about that life, typically better rappers and better at transcending their pain, because nowadays you got a lot of people that have never lived that life, but they'll talk about living that life. You know what I mean? And I think that can be like frustrating. You know what I mean? Especially if you're a Wu-Tang fan, Nas, Jadakiss, all these dudes that you know really came up, you know, out of New York, out of the mud, dude, and like, you know, it's frustrating to see all these fucking Lil Pump and fucking, I don't know. I don't even want to give him.
You know what? You know, I know what you're saying. I feel like that is, it's, you know, this day and age or whatever it is, what it is. To me, like, it's like, I know if I think about that, yeah, that shit will aggravate me. But at the same time, it's like, me personally, like, and I think you guys will say the same thing. Like, if I have to get money by like being fraudulent or being fake and phony, like, I'd rather fucking not have it. You know what I mean? Because that shit to me, like, it's like, you know, you don't get fucking, you know, that's not a flex like that. You can fucking like get over on people. Like, it's like, who you get, you know what I mean? It's like, and I feel like the people that are about it, you know what I mean? You know, we interview King Ace and shit like that. It's like, and Mikey talking about, you know, just knowing that and believing that and like living that. And you use the word transcend that, you know, to convey that in like a, you know, through that art. I feel like those people, like, at the end of the day, they'll be fulfilled, like, you know, whether it's monetarily, like, ultimately they'll be more, you know, like fucking Tekashi 6ix9ine, like fucking, it's like, bro,
that's atrocious.
I don't care if you fucking, you can have like millions of dollars. What am I gonna fucking be jealous and hate on you? Like, you're a fucking bozo, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't even get to come in here. You know what I mean? Like
you just let them in though.
Well, I'm just using an example, you know what I mean? You know, it's like that shit, I'm not jealous that he has money, but I know what you're saying. It's like, if any, but because I believe like
he's a troll, dude.
The universe, like, it's like
he's like a troll in a mega famous parody.
Yeah, he'll end up fucking blowing his head off, or someone will shoot him or something.
Yo, you know what's crazy is that dude. You know, all them Treyway dudes, all them like well, whatever they were, the Bloods, he was like really surrounding himself with. A lot of them are like fucking, you know, one of them's friends with Millie's. He's doing Shoddy. He's like he's doing like a serious bid, dude, because it's just crazy, bro. He honestly, he knew what he was doing. He tried surrounding himself with serious people to make it seem whatever, and then, you know, he folded under pressure. You know what I mean? That's what happened. That's what happened.
I mean, more than the person himself.
He'll die with that dishonor.
Right, and Mikey, that's why you know, right away, like, you know, like, you're a real one where, you know, for what it's worth, like, it means everything to us. Where like, you know, maybe it doesn't count in society. Like, to me, like, I know that, like, I wouldn't be here if I didn't, like, all we have at the end of the day is our name and our pride. And like, you know, my family can like walk around, like, no matter, I fucked up a million times, right? Yeah. But you're never gonna hear someone say like, this dude fucking like ruined my life, put me in jail. Like, you know what I mean? Right, that's never gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Never. So it's like,
people got some things to say about me, but that's one thing they don't got to say.
Right, and honestly, I feel like, you know I'll speak for myself. I wouldn't be here if that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? Like, that has got me. That's why I can survive. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say that right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, like, we try to say it's invite only, right? We don't have any fucking rats, skinners, frauds of any sort on this podcast. No frauds, like, no bullshit, dude. We keep it real and authentic, and like, you know what I mean? So fucking
it's more. I mean, and just to, you know, to segue into something else, but. What makes me, what frustrates me with that shit, where like certain people that like everyone, it's like, this dude's a piece of shit, bro. Not because they're a terrible rapper, not because they're fucking, they dress like, you know what I mean? That, I don't care what they look like. It's because they're hard, like they're
principles they broke.
They're no good, right? Like, you don't, like, that's it. End of story, right? It's black and white, right? Like, you to hurt another person, right? You want to play that role, and then you want to switch up, right? No. You don't get to do that. The people that follow them and the people that like give, like, that to me is more frustrating. It's like birds of a feather. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I may not be able to stop it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so, but I'm certainly not going to join you. I'll be like, hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like,
if you're going to do something, you got to be able to take the consequences, man. Yeah. In my case, I got pinched. I got raided selling coke.
In the Bronx or out here?
I was actually in Saratoga, New York, a little upstate town. and they shut that down quick. They weren't really feeling the energy I was bringing.
Is that near like Ithaca or Syracuse at all, or Buffalo?
It's about an hour from Albany.
Yeah, they got the races up there. I know my family used to go, you know, every year my grandfather would go up there. Yeah.
The plan was I was supposed to just hit a certain goal and I was gonna stop, and I was thinking if you know, I was breaking my own rules and doing things I knew were hot, you know what I mean? But so they hit the door, and I had the jacket, you know what I mean? Like my girl was taken down to county. My two roommates who were citizens I shouldn't have had around me anyways, they didn't get taken to county. They were on the curb crying. Can't even be mad about that because they're not official. So I should have known that.
Yeah.
But immediately when I got back, they said everything you found was mine. That's it. I don't got nothing else for you, because I already knew what they were gonna do. They're gonna try to hit my girl with conspiracy. End of the day, no one else caught a charge. I ate that because as a man, that's what I meant to do.
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing. Like, I'm sure with all the madness, right? Like, we've all surrounded ourselves with people that, if push comes to shove, if the cops show up and pressure's applied, like, they might be on the curb crying. You know what I mean? That's just
people. That's why I'm grateful. Like, never mind. I mean, being in recovery, I'm trying to live a different life. But the game is nasty, man.
Yeah.
There's people will tell on you, they get caught with something small, they'll put you away. When all they were gonna go is to group time, you feel me? And then there's people out here who will literally out here killing people who also will tell on you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm all set.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's
so
a
crazy.
lose-lose situation. And like you said, there's it's over. You know, I tell my kid that, like, it's like, over. Bro, same Back to the Future, right? Like, fucking those, like, now, like, and they say, like, I always say this, you know, drugs ruins everything, right? So it's like, even that, the whole, mob, like, mafia, like, gangster mentality, like that, like, all that shit, right? At one point or whatever, maybe, like, it was intriguing, sounded good, you know what I mean? Everyone likes to, what's better than being able to, kind of get, not have to pay for things or whatever the case is, right? And, like, kind of walk, just basically, get away with fucking murder, essentially. But now, like, when the drugs came in, like, if you think about it, like, that really, the game over, bro. It was over for a long time. We just didn't see it. But, like, certainly, like you said, nowadays, like, if anyone that's out there, like, anyone hustling, chances are you're a drug addict, right? And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? The only people really like that, if you think about it, like, it's probably like the third world, like the Bronx, like, or the third world, like, people that are like poverty stricken, that are in like all the cartels and shit like that. Because even there's like drugs, it's just rampant. It's a fucking, it's a problem. It floods. It's flooded everywhere. The people that really are like that are making any money off it nowadays, I would say, would be like the cartels and shit like that, you know what I mean? Or the government, who the fuck knows? But it certainly ain't the fucking... It certainly ain't the common folk. Yeah. It certainly, you know what I mean?
That was always my justification, because I'm big into conspiracy theories, and you know about, like, the CIA and Ricky Freeway Ross and all that. Yeah. So I was like, I felt that justified my actions, but the end of the day is, I'm gonna go to prison.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're not. The Sackler family's not going to jail. The people in the CIA and the DEA who are crooked are not going to jail.
Yeah.
My dumb ass will go to jail, and they'll have me in the news, so the citizens can say, oh, look, we got the bad guy.
You just said it right there. That's perfectly put in how you said it. Just fucking, it says everything to me. I'm going to go to prison, right? Like, there's no, like, that, right? Like, right. It's not like, I'm not telling you, like, no, I'm going to go to prison because that's what I'm going to do, right?
Yeah.
And, like, to say, like, I say all the time, fact of the matter is, like, I'm the asshole, right? That will be like, loyal and, like, I'll give an old friend a ride, right, from childhood or something, and meanwhile, like, in my head, right, like, okay, yeah, that's my boy, you know what I mean? I may know what he's doing, but I'm not doing nothing, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's not how it works, bro, you know what I mean? Like, I don't set the rules, and next thing you know, I'm fucking, I'm a conspiracy to murder, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and
in
it's
a
like,
bad situation.
I'm gonna, like I say, so what, now I'm, I got a Cody, and I was just given a ride because out of loyalty or whatever. And it's like, no, bro, you're a bozo. And honestly, and shame on you, because I know I'm going to sit there and, like, that's selfish to put your family through and to put the people you care about, it's like, it's not about anyone else. Like, prove it to anyone else. Like, what did that get you?
So how old were you when you caught that, when you got pinched and got your bid?
I must have been 29.
29?
Yeah.
Word. And that was...
I did 3 years in juvenile corrections as well. For some,
Gotcha.
got a collection of, like, I just kept getting pinched on like, I got a DUI.
Yeah.
I got an assault. I got caught with a little bit of weed, and they sent me to a rehab, and I caught a felony at the rehab. I thought it would be real funny prank to pop the sprinkler thing out, right? And I had time over my head. It was like Last Shot Kid, but that wasn't a funny prank. That's actually an A1 felony. A malicious destruction of a state building.
Yeah.
Like, I shut the rehab down. It was terrible. And then at that point, the judge was like, "You're doing 3 years." I did 2 years in juvenile at the training school in Rhode Island. And I did 1 year in this Christian Brothers, like, re-entry program. It's kind of like a halfway house, but you don't get to leave. Because I was, like, kind of a knucklehead in the group, but I was in there with, like, Cambodian kids who got caught with hammers and all type of shit. I didn't know Providence was like that, but Providence is like that.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's like, we say all the reputable areas that we come from are like the places that make noise and this and that, and everyone wants to flex and, like, yeah, whatever, you should be proud of where you're from. But at the same time, like, also there's, let's be real, like you said, like, there's people that come from, like, a far worse, you know what I'm saying? Like that really don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you may,
a lot of people don't have anything to lose. They don't care.
And they don't even know they have nothing to lose. That's just their fucking.
Yeah. I didn't think Providence was like that either. I went to a fabulous Jadakiss concert at the Strand Ballroom.
FABO?
Yeah, the downtown's tiny. You wouldn't think it. But...
And fucking, what's it called? Yeah, so it was the Friday the 13th when they came out the Freddie vs. Jason shit, Fab and Jada. So that was probably one of the dopest concerts I went to. And long story short, we left downtown a little bit, ended up over by the Chad Brown projects, and fucking, it was just crazy, bro. It was crazy. The kid I was with was, like, running his mouth through it, and we got into a crazy situation, and man, people don't know how to act a lot of the times, and it's nice hearing, I know, like, we got some similarities, my mother and father was an addict. My father was, like, kind of a tough guy too, but I know you dealt with that coming up, addiction, running around and stuff like that, coming up tough. So I don't know if you want to speak on that or...
Yeah, my whole family struggles with alcoholism and addiction, like, my life, beginning of my life was real hectic. My father got pinched and he was in prison for selling coke. My mother was an addict, and she still is to this day. She's active, she's a smoker. She smokes coke.
Pray for her, bro.
So, and those first 5 years were, like, real hectic, like, being left alone with random people. We lived in a car for a little bit. We lived in a place and I was in Hyannis at the time, called Angel House, like a halfway house for drug-addicted mothers and kids. I got dropped off, my mother brought me down to North Carolina to see my grandmother and said she was going to go get a pack of squares and then didn't come back,
Wow.
So the first 5 years were, like, pretty crazy. And my father came home, he got sober in prison, stayed that way, and he's a stand-up guy. He came home and changed his life, and thank God, because right about that time, the state came to grab my little brother. My dad was able to get me. And, like, life got better on the outside because of my father. But internally, I was, like, there was, like, a dark hole, a black void in me, and it continued to grow and grow no matter what I did,
Yeah.
I thought it was like, if God would just let my mother get right, I would be all right. But it was more than that, as I found out.
Yeah.
That didn't help.
Yeah.
But.
As we find out, like, going through this process, I was the same way. I held a lot of resentment towards my mother and my father. And, I'm sorry to hear that your mother's still active, dude. It's tough. I have, a lot of similarities. I have cousins, uncles, mother,
and
father.
My cousin passed.
Man.
My first time sober in 2017, she inspired me to get sober, and then she ended up relapsing and passing, you know what I mean?
Wow.
But it was it was an important lesson for me because, remember, she called me a couple weeks before, like, I relapsed, but I'm just smoking weed and taking beans. I'm just taking Klonopins and smoking weed. 2 weeks later, she died, and that was my closest cousin in the world. Rest in peace, Caitlin Powell. C. Powell, I love you. She was a real one, bro. Like, off the rip, she was wild
and
since
she
a young age.
planted that seed, bro.
And I realized,
that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah.
Like, that was a gift in a sense. Like, for me, abstinence is the only thing that works.
And they say, I know it sounds,
100%.
A little controversial, little morbid. It could, but just to kind of put things into perspective, they talk about, I think you guys have heard it. you know, maybe because sometimes we try to make sense of things and death and all that stuff, things that are far, you know, greater than we can even imagine, or kind of put a finger on. And you know, I've heard before, like maybe someone needed to go, like someone needed to be taken home, right? Because like they're not gone, you know, they're actually, you know, they're in heaven. As I believe in, like you know, they're just not here in the physical aspect. For someone to live, someone had to, you know, be taken home for someone's life to be saved. Like that to me, that soothes me, that comforts me, that, you know, or I can look at it like in a morbid way, you know, and like and that's, I think personally that's selfish to do. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like when you have God in your life, man, like I think we all do today, you know, like kind of similar situation with my father. My father passed away in 2016 from an overdose. And when that happened, right, I went off the deep end, but at the same time, you know, rest in peace, Pat Donovan. But at the same time, looking back on it, right, he inspired me to get sober at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Because he brought me to my first AA meeting. He knew what I was doing, and he tried telling me, you know, this is the path you're gonna go down, and you know, brought me by Mass Ave, and he's like, this is where you're gonna end up, man. Like Mass Ave, jail, prison, fucking, or dead, you know, and that's the reality. Jails, institutions, and
he
death.
told you the truth when
he told me the truth.
He told you the truth when he learned about the truth himself. Because as kids, we believe our parents are superheroes. We believe that they. I know I did. You know, it's like, why wouldn't you? So next thing you know, it's like, you know, that's not the case. That's not the truth. And like they try to protect us. They do the best they can and stuff. But at the same time, they're human beings as well. You know, we don't see any of their character flaws or whatnot. Yeah. And then we're quick to blame and point the finger, you know, 100%. And be like, if you'd only done this or that, you know. And it's like that's not what it's about. It's about you learning. Like you get to a certain point, then they kick you out of the nest. If you know what I mean. Unless you're already gone, you know, you want to fly on your own, and like good luck with that. But you know, even thinking about your dad, and every little boy wants to be like their father, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you wanted, so that it makes sense to me, right? Yeah. You wanted to, at the end, no matter what was going to be said, like, you know, even in that case, when you're a kid, like you're not thinking, man, like that's not the way to go. And like your father could have told you, like, bro, don't follow my path. Like do as I say, not as I do. And at the same time, you were I'm gonna. Even subconsciously, like, no, I'm going to do this and I'm going to end up, it was almost like, you know, it was written, you know, it was fate.
And the seeds were planted in those first...
He comes home and gets sober. Yeah. And now all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, you don't see it, but it's like, now I want this. I want to chase that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the blessing. I feel like, you know, even maybe he had I believe we all have to go through what we have to go through, you know what I'm saying?
The thing about it is, so my father got me, and then my mother went off the deep end. I think it was 8 years since I seen her, you know what I mean? Like straight up homeless, addiction, out in Worcester, no one knew where she was. She lost her teeth, all that kind of stuff. So they had to be real with me and explain, like, your mother's spiritually sick. She loves you. She just can't be here. They couldn't tell me my mom wasn't in college, you know? But then the other thing was they were very raw with me from a young age from what I went through. But like my dad would joke about the past and the things that he did, all these things. And like my uncle's kind of he was a character, you know, stick up kid from Jamaica Plain. My grandfather's a wise guy. He was shot. He survived that. He beat 2 murder cases. Like we call him Cadillac Jack. He's a wise guy. Yeah. And they didn't understand that I was internalizing that. And, you know, my dad was cool. He gave me 36 Chambers, Wu-Tang. I'm listening to that. And, you know, showed me movies, Scarface and all this stuff. And I really...
Same thing, bro. Same thing.
My thing was like powerless, like we're powerless, right? So that's why I think this whole thing was so attractive to me and why I attached to the street life, because it filled all those problems.
Right. It filled that void.
It certainly felt like it did.
I needed power. That's what I thought. If I never thought I could control my drinking, but if I could attain enough power, no one could tell me what to do. Right. Was my goal.
Well, especially, you know, that's why I always say I chased money for a long time, right? Because like, you know, and honestly, like that, it brought me nothing good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, sure, can we sit here and like tell some funny stories or some like, oh. It honestly, at the end of the day, bro, that shit, it was a problem, you know? And to this day, it's like chasing that money, like trying to fill that void. Because I thought I was all right. Like if I had money, all it was doing was like just delaying the inevitable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It just masked my underlying issues. You know, if I had money, like I was okay. But like, of course I was okay because, you know, everyone around me, like, you know, I was I didn't see the truth, right? I was like blinded. This joke was on me, you know? Who's the fool, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm like the man and taking care of everyone and like legend in my own mind, right? Of course, and you know, these other sick people they're telling me exactly what I want to hear, right? They're right. They're co-signing my bullshit, right? They're co-signing my sick thinking,
Yeah.
right? And it's only progressing and getting worse. You know what I mean? And
For me, everything like whenever I did some crazy stuff, like I would like and really went on a run on some street shit, is like it was coming from a place of like fear, there never being enough, and a real place of lack, you know? So like inevitably I would exert my will, I would get some crazy shit going in motion, I would get like hood rich, and then the whole house of cards would come down on me and I'd end up with nothing because the basis of it was from lack.
absolutely.
So now, like, I'm trying to really transmute my mental state and attract money, focus on what I do have. And some days I don't do well with it, but most days I just focus on what I do have and remain grateful, and then that will attract more. My life is crazy more abundant than it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. That's the right
awesome.
word too. Abundance. Yeah.
Abundance, yeah, 100%. I love that. I can relate on so many levels, bro. It's nice having these deep conversations. Like, same thing, bro. I want to be just like my father. I first watched Scarface and American Gangster and Goodfellas with him, right? And then
I'm Tony now.
yeah, I'm Tony. I want to be little Tony, and it's fucking crazy, dude. It's crazy, and I think it's funny you mentioned. Was it your uncle? Who was a wise guy?
My Uncle Pat, yeah.
Yeah, and like you know,
My grandfather was a wise guy. My uncle was a wild kid, stick up kid.
Okay, yeah. You said Cadillac Jack. I knew a couple of them. A couple of the wise guys from like you know Boston and Medford, and they all like their Cadillacs, dude. They love Cadillacs. That's a real thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's all appealing. That's all intriguing, right? It's
of course it is.
Right?
Money,
of course,
but
but
bunch of money in a brown paper bag type
and the
shit,
thing that's not talked about, and that's why I feel like you know, if it needs to be talked about, it needs to be like fucking like the power needs to be taken away because it's false. It's a false sense of security. It's a fucking straight up lie. That like all that glamorized shit, right? That's one thing. Like I'll never sit there. Like I love telling a story. I love being entertained. Those guys you talk about, your uncle, your grandfather. Yeah, like that character that was built. Like the reason that they have that reputation, the reason that like no one talks about what they went through, right? Like if that's what it takes to earn that, right? Yeah, I feel like I've earned like certain, but that's my sick thinking where it's like. You know, I feel like, all right, my pain, like you should treat me a certain way. You should, but like, why, right? Like I have to check myself and like, what's my agenda or motive? And it's like that, I shouldn't be respected because I went to prison. You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't be shunned either. You know what I mean? Like that's something for me to accept. And me, you know, I'm not going to use it as like that's not a badge of honor, certainly, but it's also not like, it doesn't make me less than, you know? Yeah. So, and that's the one thing, like, I think we've learned about where, and the kid said it last night that was celebrating. He always felt either less or better, right? Yeah. Certainly. And the better was a straight lie, right? Because we really didn't fail it. We were just like, you know, think about, yeah, of course I'm doing better than the dude fucking stemming on the street, right? Yeah. Because I got a roof over my head or like I got a little money in my pocket, but like, you know, I'm not going to fucking say, you can't tell me that's me. You know what I mean? But I may think it inside, like I can't see myself there. Why would I want to? That's human nature. But you know, like we're not unique, like they talk about. You know, to just be like, to know that like it doesn't. You know, there's no exceptions. You know, people. It doesn't discriminate. You know,
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. So when did you start first trying to get sober? 2017.
2017. No, for me, I was in the program early because even before my father kicked me out. So at like 15 years old was the first time I ever got 3 months sober.
Wow.
And I tried to go to some meetings and I tried to change, and I just kind of
that's tough. 15 years old, bro.
Yeah, it was like it didn't really click, and then I just started hanging out with my old friends and rolling blunts for them, and then before I knew it, I was chasing girls and selling weed, and then I relapsed, and so first time I ever got sober was 15 years old, and then from 15 to 25 was absolute madness. And
that's why I respect you guys so much. You know, the younger guys, where it's like, you know, it took me a long time, right? But I had to suffer because of it. Like, you know, I don't give myself one of these, right? You know, I wish I didn't have to. I wish I had. But the younger guys, I have so much respect for you because if you were to tell me at that age, like that's a tough pill to swallow, no pun intended. Be like, they say it's not our fault that like, you know, we're born with this or it's in our genes or whatever the case may be, environment, product of environment. But when the partying, like when that line is crossed, like that invisible line, you know, you don't even know you're doing it. And next thing you know, it's like, it's not fun anymore, but like I still have to believe it's fun, right? I'm still chasing like and the fun has stopped, but like I still need the party to go because I don't know, like how do I just be, right? That's like so scary. But like to be your age and like to get it, like I feel like, you know, I think of the people that came before you, you know, your uncle, your grandfather, you know, like to me, like you're honoring them by like doing what you're doing, right? And at the same time honoring yourself, like, and that's the blessing in itself. And for you to be able to get it at such a young age, like to me, like that's like super attractive, super appealing, and like I get inspired and motivated from that.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You gotta remember too that, you know, the generation we grew up in, I'm a little younger than you, but like, you know, nowadays, bro, everything's fentanyl. You know what I mean? Everything's fentanyl, and like that used to be my drug of choice. You know, similar to you, cocaine was a big drug for me. But you know, even that, like, you got to be careful, dude. They're putting fetty in the coke. They're putting fetty in the pills.
Everything, man.
You know, so I think
everything.
The game's changed. You know what I mean? I think that plays a big part in getting sober. Like the street life, the lifestyle, you know, there's fucking, you want to talk about, you know, people not sticking to the code or values and shit. There's fucking crash dummies out there that'll sell you a 20 bag and say it's coke and it's really fetty, and you know, it's like they only care about making $20, and then boom, you're in a fucking, you're 6 feet up, you're 6 feet under, bro. It's crazy.
For me, it was really like the perfect storm. Like my progression, as soon as I picked up, like it was just really intense. And like I picked up at 14. By 15, I'm out of the house. But it was a perfect storm because my father was, you know, he was sober, trying to have changed his life. My stepmother's the same way. Like they wanted to keep a good home, so they didn't know how to react. So they weren't gonna like enable me, you know.
Which is the hardest thing, I'll tell you, as a parent, to set boundaries. That's why they have Al-Anon. They have these things, because as much as it's a nightmare for the person like that is going through it, right? It's even
our families get sick, bro, because
what it does to families, what it does to the people with your last name and that love you, I feel like at this stage is far worse, which is saying a lot, right?
It was nuts. I would come in blackout drunk and be like, I'm not drunk. Try to fight. And my dad, I'm sneaking girls in. I'm sneaking out there, finding drugs, weapons, fucking stolen duffel bags. I'm making money selling weed, and my stepmother found a duffel bag of stolen shit. Like I was bugging out. You know, for what reason? I don't know. It's just what I had to go through.
It's like delusional. Like you can't accept reality. What I was getting with like being young and like having to face this, right? Having to look at yourself. Not even like you're not ready to accept it on your own. So pretty much at that age, we're either being told by family, by the court system, whatever the case, right? We got ourselves in a jackpot. To tell someone like, that's a tough pill to swallow. Like I say, no pun intended, but like, why don't I get to enjoy my youth and like be free and like have some experiences and you know, have these memories and be like any other kid, right? Because in our heads, it's like, you know, everyone's doing the same thing, right? Well, everyone's doing it. What do you mean? So we're right off the rip, we're comparing. We're not we can't, you know, and that's the hardest thing to do, look at yourself, but like, you feel like you're being robbed, bro. It's like, wait a minute, like,
that was a big
why
part.
don't I get to enjoy this?
But come to find out, we're really robbing ourselves, dude. Because it's like, yo, I caught my first case in school. I got arrested out of fucking. They put me in handcuffs right out of high school. Had to fight to get my diploma, and then after that, from 18 on, I was on my own, running around Boston, fucking whatever. And I had to learn on my own that, like, bro, whether these kids were doing the same drugs as me or not, and whether they're addicts or alcoholics or not, isn't for me to decide. I'm a fucking addict and alcoholic.
And just give it some time if you're really that.
They're doing something right? Because they're graduating college now, and I'm fucking picking up cigarettes off the ground, bro. And like, that's embarrassing.
Getting immediate
to fucking
consequences.
Yeah, bro. Like that, you know, like
well, even
that,
to compare,
that street
though,
life and that, like selling, you know, obviously, like, you know, I never claimed to be some like big time drug dealer or whatever, right? Like I always did more than I fucking sold, but you know, like eventually, bro, like that shit's gonna catch up to you. And like I think we had to come to the realization, right? And thank God we did, and Joe did too. Like, it's gonna end one of two ways, right? One of three ways. We're either gonna end up dead, we're gonna end up in prison for the rest of our life, or we're gonna get sober. And that's just what it was. And thank God we had that realization.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Thank God.
Yeah, for me when I was young, it was just like I was in such a unfathomable amount of visceral pain that at a certain point I snapped, and I felt like I kind of did. And also when I started to drink and get a bad reputation, like I moved from Boston, I'm in Connecticut now, like I became the #1 villain. Like everyone hated me, right? And so I really embraced that, and I felt justified. I felt, I think, maybe entitled to terrorize society. Some people might find relief from cutting themselves or whatever.
Yeah.
I found relief from, I always had so much fear that I had to put fear into other people. That really got me high. All this shit got me high.
Yes.
I did all this shit, all the crazy street shit. I sold drugs. I did all these things, but really for nothing. I never had a safe house. I never had a fucking fancy car. Like I gave it my all for really nothing in the end, because it's not what I am. I'm really a poet.
Right.
I've been around some sociopath motherfuckers that were sick. I could shut my emotional system down and do it and be it, but it really is not what I'm meant to be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's right there is a full-time job that I say we pay for pain, right? It's like I gotta work I gotta work full-time overtime, like not even a legit job, right? I have to fucking kill myself just to fucking sustain like what? You know, what's the end game? What's the end goal? There never was one for me. I know that.
Right.
It was just in the moment at the time. And like you said, I thought about, you know, talking about that, the attention, you know, where good, bad, or indifferent. I've always said since I was younger, I had this mentality, and maybe, you know, you guys can relate. It was like, I felt like, and I was never going to say it out loud, but in my head, like, and I know that what that is today, that was my ego, that was my fear. And I'd say like, you're going to know about me. You're going to hear about me. I will make headlines. And like, at one point I remember it turned from innocence and like, you know, wanted to be a hockey player, follow my cousin's footsteps, or like, you know, just be a regular human being, right? A normal person with a normal life. And at some point it changed from, I don't know if it's going to be good or bad. Like I was still holding on to that, like, but like that was slipping. And it was like, then I accepted, I was almost like, I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but I'm going to make headlines. So like, I almost like invited that into my life. Like, you know what, if I can't make it doing something honorable or like, you know, then you will, you know,
going all in.
And that right
the
there, like
archetype.
talk about selling yourself out and selling, you know, it's like, yeah, I can be loyal. Like, that's the thing. Like, you talk about a crash dummy or like fucking, I'm that, I like how you said that. Like, I'm the bozo, I'm the asshole. Like, yeah, I'm that fucking asshole, right?
Yeah.
And I have to say that for myself. That's not, you know what I mean? I don't need no one else to fucking, and just to humble myself and know, like, it's like, you know, the validation or like trying to like, I had to be true to myself, and I never knew how to do that. You know what I'm saying? Until I finally surrendered and said, I need help. You know what I mean? And like those hardest words to say, you know.
Let's start segueing into how long you been sober now, Mikey?
I got a little over a year and a half.
Good for you, bro.
Almost 19 months, man.
Hell yeah, bro. That's awesome. Is that the longest you ever had?
No, in 2017 when I originally got sober, I ended up having I had 4.5 years abstinent.
Wow.
I can't say I had 4.5 years of recovery.
Yeah.
I had the same. I had, when I got introduced to it, I put together 4.5 years, and there was no recovery. There was straight. I rode the wave as any. Why wouldn't I? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I got that euphoric feeling, right? Started feeling myself a little, right? And then like, you know, knew nothing about like recovering because that ego was still there and stuff, you know.
Tell the people the difference, you know, between your
please,
like, the difference between abstinence and recovery, and you know what you're doing now compared to what you were doing then.
The thing about it is like that, like for the first year, that time I was in recovery. You know, I was really like doing the deal. But the thing about it is then after a while, like my cousin OD'd, I told you guys that some things went left. and I became resentful with God again. I felt like I got the short end of the stick, and then I started to have like these ideas that life's all about me, you know, and that I was entitled to a little bit of selfishness and dishonesty, and I could vary from the application of these principles, and that was a spiritual sickness that started slow, and it grew and it grew, and pretty soon I was like, then I met a girl and I moved to upstate New York, and I got to my first year, I was like Captain Recovery, you know what I mean? And then my second year, I was leaving halfway through a meeting to go sell coke. My third year, I was in prison, you know? But I should have picked up that 24-hour chip the first time I went to cheat on my girlfriend or go bang a play. I was fire gone, you know? But I fell for them same things. Like, I've had a hard life, so that means that I could do whatever I want. It's a high in its own, that like acquisition of power, like
Absolutely.
that being I'm dangerous. Like it's a weird. You start believing the lies again if you get too far away from the spirit.
Yeah, you talk about the acceptance. Like the acceptance is the key. You know, is like that's the answer to all my problems. It's like, right. That I know that makes total sense. Like to try to apply it to my life on a daily basis, like it's a difficult thing.
The behaviors, man, the behaviors that catch up to you. Like I really had to have a realization this time that I can't go boosting from Lululemon on a fucking Tuesday when I'm off from work. I can't go fucking selling fucking drugs, dude. I can't fucking, you know.
Can't gamble on the Chiefs.
I can't gamble on the Chiefs. Fuck the Chiefs.
Yeah,
but no, like, you know, you're either all in or you're all out, man. God's either everything or he's nothing. You know what I mean? Like that's, and not to like quote the book and shit, but it's the truth, man. It's like when I start getting away from God and away from AA and away from the spirit, shit goes south. When I start taking control of that steering wheel, bro, I know where it's going to end up, but you know, I try to stay in the middle today, and I know that's what you do too. I see you got your boy Jake here, Jake Courier. Give him a shout out, dude. He'll be coming on soon. But you know, we surround ourselves with these good people, man, and you know, routine is huge too, and it's great to see what you're doing, man. So we
either follow this path or we don't. Like invariably, every time in my life, self-will inevitably leads me to relying on self and character defects, and then I fall victim to old thought patterns, and before I know it, I terrorize the society. You know what I mean? Like I will harm a general vicinity around me if I get unwell. As a man, it's my responsibility today. I did all that bullshit. It's my responsibility today to be different, to change, to build, to help. I did enough destruction. We did enough destruction, and I'm grateful today that I get to build and help. Because I generally have remorse. Like there's street shit that happened that I'm not worried about it, but like I really hurt the people that love me most, my family, my ex-girlfriend. All these people, I did these things that really hurt, like irreparable harm was caused because of my selfishness. So I'm grateful today to try to be different.
Yeah. Well, and I'm grateful to come across, you know, guys like you. And like I said, when I met you, it's like what attracts me and like what's appealing to me today is, you know, because I got a chance based on my experience to have the option to form an identity, right? Which I never did before because I wasn't allowing myself to, right?
Yeah.
So I can like, you know, I can rely on something else. I can choose to like hit my knees. I can choose to like, you know, just kind of regulate my emotions and whatnot. I have those options today, right? Especially if I don't put anything in my system, right? But I feel like even before that, it starts with like, you know, relying on something else, you know, because I can't do this on my own. But then on this level, to be able to sit down and like to hear you speak, like that's why I'm very passionate about it. And I get that's my high today, right? If that's the worst, it's gonna if that's I'll take that, right? Because at least what I'm hearing is I can apply it to my life. It's productive, right? It's not hurting me, right? It's only helping me, and it's coming from someone else, right? That like, you know, that I respect, that I look up to. I see how they move. I see that something's working for them. I see peace in them, right? You know, that's not. We can point out when we're like troubled or like unsettled, right? Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. And we can also like, I feel like get like it breeds, you know, like, so that peacefulness to be able to sit down here and have these conversations and whatnot, like that makes me happy to see someone that I know, like it doesn't take much to set us off or to get us, you know, we don't need no one to help us get in our head or anything like that, or to ruminate and to run with things, you know, the negativity, like the negative talk or whatnot. But to see someone sit here and, like you said, like tell their truth and say, like, you know, that's easy, like to cause like destruction, all that shit, right?
Yeah.
You know, and certainly not. But like even to like speak it out loud, but then be like, well, really, and Devin says it all the time. You know, in 26 years old, like that means nothing. Like to me, it's like, yeah, he's 26. Like that's wow, this kid, like he just said that being a man is like fucking like
you carry yourself. You carry yourself in a way where you know what I mean. You could tell you've been through a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah,
bro.
and showing up, and he says like being a man is showing up for your family, right?
Yeah.
That makes me feel good, right?
Yeah.
And like then
That's
that
gangster.
making me feel good knows like it's like it confirms like, bro, like your mind can tell you whatever you want if you're untreated, but like if you do the drill, that'll confirm and make you should feel good because that's your friend. That's like fucking love. That's unconditional. His daughters deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and our families deserve. We can give back.
Of course. And I think all of us hurt the people closest to us, man. And I thought for so long that, oh, well, because I was providing and because I had a roof over the head and because I was whatever. But it's like, dude, I wasn't taking care of myself, right? I was taking care of everybody else but myself. And in turn, I ended up hurting everybody. You know what I mean? And then back to playing the victim card. And it's like, I just choose not to live that way. And, you know, if you want to, you know, get it, like tell the people or tell me, you know, I'm grateful to have you guys in my life first and foremost. I'm grateful to have met you guys, bro. You guys both got great stories. It's been great learning more about you, bro, and the similarities we have. Like tell the people what you do on a daily basis today, you know, in life, whether it be with music or with sobriety and recovery.
The day-to-day basis, the most important thing that I do is, you know, as soon as I start my day, I wake up, I hit my knees, I say a prayer, and I make my bed, man, every single day. Because the first thing that slipped.
Tell them why you make the bed. Why that? Tell them that what that
Joe,
means.
shut up. Let him talk.
Making the bed is, you know, you could have a rough day. Everything might go wrong in your day, but you can't fuck up making the bed.
Yeah.
So no matter what, if you've had the worst day of your life, when you come home to that nice made bed, you feel good about that. And you start your day off with completing a goal. I made my bed.
Yep.
I said my prayer. I ask God, I invite God into my life, and I go about my day and I handle my duties to the best of my ability with a positive attitude, you know? And I just do the next right thing to the best of my ability. I try to be helpful to people. I was very far from a helpful individual. I was really, for when I'm unwell, I'm probably going to take some shit, you know? So I just try to be helpful today, and I'm grateful for the grace because this last relapse and a couple scenarios that went down, it really could be so I could be out in Kentucky right now, sitting in the feds. That's how thick it got. And it really shut my nervous system down. I feel like I used to, even my first time sober, Joe, like I could never chill. I had to be at 7. I had to go out every night, you know, all the time, even if it was positive stuff. Now, sometimes I chill. I meditate, bro. I go to the Buddhist temple. Like, I did enough grimy shit. I want to do some wholesome shit. I want to call my stepmother and ask her how her day's going.
Yeah.
I want to call my friend Jake and make sure he's good. I want to hit Joe up. I want to hit Devin up. That's gangster. Yeah. I want to do the next right thing. Because if I go back on this grace, the consequences are going to be something I don't want.
Yeah.
Severe. I don't know what it will be. I don't know if it's death. I don't know if it's a real stretch. But it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know.
Yeah,
no, that's fire, bro.
Absolutely,
fire.
Bro. Mikey does
Mikey's
spit
spitting
fire, bro.
fire right now. Bro, like, honestly, same thing. You know, I try to hit my, you know, I haven't been hitting my knees. I pray every morning, every night. And you know, I'll send out the daily reflections and I read those and make my bed. It's setting the tone, right? It's setting the tone. It centers me, right? Because, and it keeps me humble and right size because I don't want to be too big or too small. I want to, like you said, I want to try to be in the middle, man. And you know, like it's important, dude. And you talked about, you know, not having to go out every night, not having to do all these things. I learned early on, bro, that sitting with self is a fucking skill, bro. I went to go eat by myself a couple weeks ago, and like I had a couple people hitting me up, like, "What are you doing?" Like checking my location and shit, whatever. And I'm like, bro, I'm going to fucking eat. You know what I mean? Like, and just chill, because like I've had, you know,
I make him share his location with me. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Keep tabs on him.
Yeah. And same thing.
I want to make sure he's fucking doing what he's saying.
Yeah.
He could be out with another friend. You know what I mean? I don't. You know, even like, you know, I'm going to see my girls, like, you know, his little ones. He got twins, right? How old are they now?
Almost 2.
Almost 2, right? I'm like, bro, tell them to fucking get their own friends. Like, you know what I mean? Like seriously, it's so needy, bro.
Yo,
Codependent.
he told my grandmother that on FaceTime, like, yo, Graham, they need to get some friends, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo,
But you
this
know what?
motherfucker
Hey, you know what the
crazy.
best part of that is, bro? To
Crazy.
see him to see him FaceTime and right, his grandmother's there. You know what I mean? Like we don't like the only way we can do that shit and like and that's fucking that's beautiful shit. Like is he feels good enough about himself, I know, right? And then his grandmother, right, to see her smile, to see her laugh, and like, you know, we're the type of people that like, you know, for what it's worth, like we can turn a pain and like kind of like laugh in the face of fucking adversity or laugh in the face of the pain where it's like, all right, you know, we can sit there and suffer, but at the same time, you know what? Like, if we're living a certain way and like we're doing better and we're putting one foot in front of the other, then like, you know what? Fucking, I can laugh at, you know, at a silly joke or like something that's like, you know, it's not a threat, you know, it's not a threat to me. And like for your family, his grandmother to smile on the phone and make these little jokes, you know what I'm saying? Like
I was really calling to tell him, like, I was showing her the podcast and he wouldn't stop talking. So
yeah.
It's a
No,
work. It's a work in progress.
Work in progress, motherfucker.
Work in progress. You see it right there. Yeah, bro. This has been fire.
You guys gonna check out MORUKUZ?
MORUKUZ, bro. I had a fucking crazy God moment the other day. Like though, you know, and my sponsor tells me too. Like, you know, I'm you know, we're all, no matter how much time you have or don't have, I think it's important, like with having God in your life and staying humble. It's like, I know that I'm always learning, right? And normally when I go see my kids, it's all about them, right? But thinking back, like when all I did was take care of them, dude, and all my focus was on being there for them, I fell to the wayside, right? So like the other night, I went and picked my daughter up from daycare. I fed her, I put her to bed, gave her a bath, and I ended up going to a meeting that night. And I shared at that meeting the topic was spirituality and having God first in your life. And I shared about that, and I shit you not, my friend right next to me, Tim, he was one of our guests on the podcast. Tim raised his hand and like got emotional, bro, because like, you know, this is a kid I got high with. This is a kid that thought I was gonna die. You know what I mean? And he's like 3 years clean now, almost. And you know, it's just a good feeling, man. Like being at that daycare and seeing my daughter run over to me, I'm just like, holy fuck, bro. Like this is the shit that matters. You know what I mean? The car, the money, the girl, the job, all that shit's gonna come and go, bro. All comes and goes, and it's all gonna fall into place as long as you're doing the next right thing. What really matters, bro, is being there for your family. And yo, it's been a great episode, bro.
Yeah.
Joe, what do you got?
I'm grateful you guys having me
being there
on,
for
man.
them by being there for yourself, you know. It's not that tough of a concept, but I can certainly complicate it. I try to keep it simple and whatnot, and you know,
keep everything in the proper order.
To have you today, you know what I mean? I need to hear this stuff, you know. To me, this is like a meeting in itself, you know. You know, I like a men's meeting, you know, and talking to the guys and knowing that, you know, you're not alone. It's a wonderful feeling. I'm very grateful to have you on, you know, because I think how you speak, you know what I'm saying, it comes from the heart, but it's also, you have a way of articulating it and putting it into, you know, you're very, very intelligent, very intelligent. And, you know, that's why I say, like, you know, I'm definitely going to check out the music more in depth.
Yeah, what do you got going on with the music shit coming up? Anything?
Yeah, if anyone's interested, man, I got, this past summer, I released the album I've been working on for a long time, Behemoth. You know, got some good features on there. My brother Danielson, Pro Dillinger, G-Fan Black, production from Stu Bangers. That was a really dope tape. So that's out, and I got an EP out, Lord Filth. Check that out anywhere you stream music. I got a bunch of albums. I got a bunch of things that I'm working on right now in the ether. I got a bunch of projects that'll be coming out over the next year or two. Next month in Albany, New York, I'm a supporting act alongside 38 Special. Albany, if anyone wants to make the trip, we're gonna go out there, you know, a few of us, and have a good time, man. So you can come to that.
Maybe we can do.
We'll make the trip,
and also maybe we can do like a ticket giveaway or something. Like maybe we'll get you know, put a couple tickets out there.
I could buy a couple tickets and do the giveaway thing again.
Yeah, that'd be great. You know, but I see
salute
nothing
to
but
my dude Exquisite and Rap Clinics and Shiest and all them for having me out, man. Those are my homies from Albany. They're like
Hell yeah.
Some of the dopest local kids from the area. They're dope, man.
You know who you kind of look like? No bullshit.
Who?
You look like OT the Real. a little
OT
bit.
the Real?
Yo, OT the Real's fire too.
Yo,
I like his shit.
He's super dope, man.
Shout
Super
out to
dope.
OT the Real, man.
I thought you were about to say Mac Miller, man.
Nah,
That's
bro,
what I get.
I get Mac Miller all the time. I'm like, yo,
Well, you gotta watch, dude. You gotta,
bro, we were catching wreck.
You got a sharp tongue, bro. This dude will come out with some crazy shit.
I do have a sharp tongue, dude. Rest in peace to Mac Miller.
Yeah.
I like Mac Miller. I wasn't talking shit. I was just saying, yo, at least I'm not dumb enough to eat a press perk and go lay down, bro. But like, God bless his soul, man. Like, he was a good rapper, and you know, he was another one of us, man.
One night I was fucking high on the coke, and I seen a meme like, "You think your plug's better than Mac Miller?" And I started bugging out. I'm like, "Oh shit, dude!"
Yeah,
Yo, it could be. There's people getting fucking fentanyl in their weed.
Yeah,
you know what I
word.
mean? So,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's scary.
There's a lot of people
Terrorist shit,
like
bro.
that. The dude from The Wire too, I think Michael K. Williams. He died too from the same shit. A lot of people, bro. We could go on and on about the people that have died from fentanyl, famous, not famous, whatever. Yo, we got my fucking audio guy going like this, like having him sign the shit. You got somewhere to be, bro? I'm the one that's got to go to work. You
Let him know,
he's
bro.
trying to go back to bed, bro.
Let him know, man.
you might be tired.
Fucking lace up or lay down,
They
bro.
suck
Come
our
on.
face down. Now.
Come on, Yo, honestly, at this point, don't even edit that shit out.
This was dope, man. I appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Kindred
Absolutely,
spirits.
bro.
Always had like, you know, real recognized real. You know what I mean?
100%, man. And I see nothing but success and big things in your future. You know what I mean? I love the way.
I just.
I love you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how you. Yeah.
Settle down, will ya?
Yo, have him sign it, bro.
I know. Yeah, you could put Mikey O, MORUKUZ, whatever you want to throw on there, bro. Big, small, no matter. Throw it up. Episode 11.
Episode 11. We're cooking, baby. We got some special guests coming up. Always coming with the big hitters and heavy hitters.
Boom.
And
Starting to cook with grease.
Our boy Mikey O here. Episode 11. It's gonna be dropping soon. It's fire as always. And Dev, you got any last words, brother?
Man, thank you guys for listening. It's been a dope episode, dope show. And yeah, tune in for more. MORUKUZ, we out.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
Hell yeah.